Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about how to punctuate titles in our writing. So over the course of this lecture video, I'm going to talk to you about how to use proper punctuation when we have titles in writing. We will also take a look at the different categories of literature, which will help us decide which piece of punctuation we should use in our writing, and we'll also talk about capitalization rules for titles. So first, let's talk about proper punctuation of titles in our writing. Before I begin though, I do want to just let you know that this rule requires us to have the ability to categorize literature. So, when we talk about titles in writing, they are either going to be italicized or they're going to be set off in quotation marks. It all comes down to which category the literature falls into. It's either going to be a major work or it's going to be a shorter work. So first, let's talk about those major works. Major works will be italicized in writing. An example of that would be, I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets this summer. That title, because it's a major work, it's set off in italics. Now, sometimes we know our text has already been printed. For instance, we see that on our sentence correction sheet or when we edit each other's essays. So, if you need to show that a title should be in italics on printed text, you can underline that title and it will mean the same as italics. An example of that says, her favorite novel is Hatchet by Gary Paulson. We're pretending for the sake of this example that that sentence has been printed on paper. We need to show that Hatchet is a major work and it should be in italics, and we can do that by underlining the title. Next, we also have the category of shorter works. Now, shorter works should be in quotation marks in our writing. An example of that says, we read The Most Dangerous Game to study character conflicts. That title, The Most Dangerous Game, should be in quotation marks because it's considered a shorter work. Now, on this slide, I just told you that in order to determine which piece of punctuation you should use, you need to know which category the literature falls in. So on this next slide, I have broken it down for you. So these are our categories of literature. Like I just said, it's either going to be considered major works or short works. Major works, again, should be italicized or underlined. Shorter works are always going to be in quotation marks. So just to give you some examples of what I mean by major and shorter works, this slide has given you a breakdown of the different types of literature that could be found in writing. So for instance, major works would be things like books, journals, magazines or newspapers, musical albums, websites, paintings or sculptures, plays and operas, or TV shows. So anytime we mention one of these things in our writing, the title of that literature should be in italics or underlined because it's considered a major work. On the other side here, we have our list of works that are considered to be short works. Short works include things like chapters in books, articles in journals, magazines or newspapers, blog entries, songs, essays, photographs, poems or short stories, episodes of TV shows. So again, if we have a title of any of these types of literature, they would be considered short works, and so they would need to be in quotation marks. Now on this last slide, I have just summarized the capitalization rules for titles. So yes, titles need to be punctuated, but they also need to be appropriately capitalized as well. So some general rules to follow is that we need to capitalize the first and all of the main words of the title. We do not need to capitalize articles, so words like a, an, or the, or conjunctions, which is a fancy way of saying our fanboys. Now, you should capitalize them if they are the first word in the title. For example, the title is The Book Thief. Now, like I said, we don't normally capitalize articles. However, because this article is at the start of the title, it should be capitalized. The same goes for our next example, the boy in the striped pajamas. The first article, the, is capitalized because it starts the title. However, the second the does not need to be capitalized. Now that we have finished this lecture video, here are your next steps. I'd like you to take out your sentence correction sheet, set 3 and 4. I'd like you to practice what we've just learned by correcting sentence 1 under set 3. Make sure that you check your work by watching the provided answer video. Then I'd like you to start working on our next No Red Ink assignment on noredink.com. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked to you about in this video, please feel free to reach out and I'll try to answer those questions as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, everyone.